Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Colony Drop, your favorite Gundam podcast. My name is Isaac.
And my name is Brian, and this is a podcast where we talk about anything and everything related to the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise, Isaac. From the anime, to the music, to the movies, to the models, to the food, to the clothes, you name it, we do it all.
And today we have a very special episode that's near and dear to both our hearts. We're going to be talking about what, Brian?
We're going to discuss and review Mobile Suit Gundam 0083 Stardust Memory.
Wow.
That's got to be in your top 3 series, right? I don't remember what was on your list, but it's up there.
Yeah, I was watching it now, and I was like, this is actually top of the list. This is first place. It can't be beat.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, for a number of reasons. Let me explain, listeners. So, back in the day, in my millennial youth, this was the first Gundam I saw. It came on Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, and for some reason they just had 0083. They didn't have the original series, so I had no background information on it. This is how I entered into Gundam. And just watching the intro, with Delaz and Baoku and Gato and all that, I looked at the animation and I forgot how amazing it was. It's all hand-drawn, and it holds up, doesn't it, Brian?
It does. I was saving this for later, but dare I say, Isaac, that this series has the best combination of animation and mecha design out of all the series.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. It's so crisp, it's so detailed. This has everything going for it. Even the music's great. I listened to the intro song for the first 3 episodes, without skipping. Can you do the saxophone noise?
Oh, no, I can't. I'll embarrass myself.
That's how it goes.
Exactly like that, listeners.
Yeah, saxophones were so big back in, what's this from, 1990?
1991 and 2, yeah. Please, listeners, please record your version of the saxophone piece of the winner and send it in.
Not to say it's so old, but the Soviet Union was still around when this series aired. Because the Soviet Union collapsed until 92. So That's how old this series is. But it's so well drawn and so detailed. It holds up. It's a great story. I had a blast rewatching this first half.
So, Isaac, it's only a 13-episode OVA series. But today we're going to only talk about the first half, so episodes 1 through 7. But there's a lot in those 7 episodes, Isaac. I wrote down quite a lot of things that I noticed and just wanted to talk and ask you about.
Absolutely.
But before we get to that, so the particulars, Isaac, as always, this was released as an OVA series, so 1 or 2 episodes every few months, from May of 1991 through September of 1992. I believe the only way to watch it right now is to buy it on Blu-ray officially, but if you just Google it, I'm sure you can find it. It's not very well hidden, as most Gundam series are not. I have the official guidebook out.
Okay, hit me with it.
This epic story bridges the 7-year gap between the events of the original Mobile Suit Gundam storyline and Zeta Gundam. The plot revolves around a Zeon group that has been lying low since the end of the 1-year war, waiting for its chance to renew the fight against the Earth Federation. A young Federation officer who's always dreamed of piloting a Gundam gets his chance at last, but he finds out the hard way. With such a responsibility and against such enemies, the job is no picnic.
Wow, that's kind of an understatement.
A little bit.
If you watch the whole series at the end, can you imagine some officer just kind of putting on his cap and going, man, that Operation Stardust was no picnic. It's that's a terrible thing to say.
Maybe that could have been one of the other subtitles of the compilation movie. Mobile Suit Gundam 0083, that was no picnic.
Yeah, this ain't no picnic.
So again, this is a 13-episode series. However, Isaac, it was compiled into that compilation film that we watched. And it goes by many names. The Last Blitz of Zeon, The Afterglow of Zeon, or The Fading Light of Zeon. And now that was no picnic. So listeners, we may by accident bring up some of the same points as we did last year when we talked about that. However, I think Isaac and I would like to erase that film from our memory just because it was not very good.
Yeah, I was watching this, and then, I was in episode 1 or 2, and my brain was kind of didn't you just see this? And then I continued on through the 7 episodes in the first half, and I was like, this is so much better than that movie.
Yeah.
Because we go into so much more detail. Dare I say, it looks better at some points. And yeah, it just felt like such a much better series. At the end of episode 7, part of me was like, you know what? This doesn't feel like I'm watching 13 episodes. It feels like I'm watching a very long movie.
Yeah, I do feel like, and I'd have to check this. I'm not sure if the episodes are longer. I don't know if they're TV size. Perhaps they're each 30 minutes instead of 22 or something. So that could be why it feels like you get a little bit more for your money in these episodes, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And even the kind of slow episode, I somewhat appreciated it more. I don't know why. Maybe it's aging or something. Bernina and Co kind of have like their romance episode or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just as someone that really likes the Gundam lore, this filled out a lot of things. We got to see a lot more Luna. It's so rare to see Luna's life, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we got to see how they apparently at the stroke of 6 p.m. they decided to turn off the lights, so it's time for night. I was watching that and I was thinking, shouldn't they, for people's like internal clocks and circadian rhythm, shouldn't they gradually adjust the light?
Nah, just a switch.
Yeah, we're cutting those lights. Everybody better get ready before you get plunged into darkness.
All right, Isaac. My notes are mostly in order, but I'm sure we'll jump around as always. So, Shall we jump into it?
Let's do it, yeah. Do you want to give them a rundown of 1 through 7 and Operation Stardust first half?
All right, so I think at a high level, this remnant Zeon fleet led by Agil Delaz, the Delaz Fleet, probably one of the best characters in the show, Isaac.
Yeah, and may I just say, that's a great uniform.
It's looking sharp.
a lot of sharp dressers in this show. Pay attention, everybody. Gato's got a cool outfit. Cima, it's great.
Maybe that's why Isaac liked it so much, because him and his love of uniforms,
Is this the part in the show where like it cuts to me like wearing a uniform in front of my computer?
Yes, don't you dare deny it either, Isaac. I know you're dressed in full Delaz regalia right now.
Oh yeah, I'm just counting the days till I lose my hair so I can shave it, grow a goatee, and just go full Delaz.
He's been waiting 3 years, and this is his plan, Operation Stardust. But first, what he needs is he's going to steal a Gundam. So he sends in an ace pilot from the 1 Year War, Anavel Gato, also known as the Nightmare of Solomon, to steal Gundam Unit 2, which is a tactical nuclear, version of a Gundam. It has this giant nuclear warhead and a bazooka. So Gato kind of waltzes in to Torrington Base in Australia and kind of just steals it right out from underneath the Federation's nose, right, Isaac? I mean,
it's good that the base commander was killed in combat because he would have been court-martialed and executed anyways for letting just anybody in a uniform walk onto base. There were no guards at that hangar that had Unit 2 and the nuclear weapon. No. Yeah, we'll get into the nuke, but so basically after they steal it, they then have to escape, right? So the first episode or two is the assault on Torrington and the Gundam Jack, and then I think maybe an episode or so after that is the escape to space, where Delaz is successful, Gato is successful in getting Unit 2 or GPO-2, however you want to call it, to space, so that then it can be further utilized by the Delaz fleet. And at that point, our main cast, our heroes, the crew of the Albion, Ko Uraki, Keith, Lieutenant Burning, Bait, Adele, Monsha, and then you've got your Anaheim Electronics personnel who are responsible for the Gundam. That's Nina Purpleton. And from then on, it's kind of like a recovery mission, right, Isaac? Or a recovery and or a destroy mission of, hey, we lost Unit 2. You better go find it. Yeah, I forgot that the officer did kind of give those instructions, whoever they were getting orders from at Jabrow. Is that the right way to go about it?
Well, if there's a conspiracy afoot, perhaps it is.
I'd almost feel like they'd say, you know what, destroy it, like no matter what.
Well, at first it was a recovery, and then eventually they did tell Synapse to shift to destroy mode, I think. And Nina was a little upset about it, but, Synapse was like, you're going to have to deal with it, lady.
Not to jump ahead, but if you remember when they're in Africa searching around, I think the bridge crew starts kind of, getting a little grumbly about what the brass is deciding, and they say, only Cohen ships are really looking for it. So at this point, it's very clear that the conspirators in the Federation are already hobbling the efforts to actually stop Unit 2.
Yeah, I think he gives them, 2 ships to help him to Salamis, and then both of them end up getting destroyed by Cima. So, they ended up, not really being that much of a help, other than they drew some fire for a little bit of time.
Yeah, well, I mean, they saved the Albion's life, right? I don't know why, but, remember Cima? She has a perfect bird's eye view of the small Federation fleet, and she's like, decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So she goes after the Salamises, I assume because she's very used to destroying them.
Yeah, from the 1 Year War, she was very sure about it. She just kind of stood on it and was like, yeah, we're done here, and just fired her gun in the bridge and flew away.
You think she could have taken out the Albion if she went for them instead? Or is the Albion at like any white base, it literally has too many guns.
I think she definitely could have given it a good shot if she had stopped focusing on Ko. She obviously wanted to blow up the Unit 1, and she probably spent too much time on it. He was already crippled. She didn't need to keep going.
She didn't know what it was at first. She like looked at it and was like, what is that?
Yeah. So everyone wants to blow up a Gundam, right? So I guess I don't blame her.
As long as you know what it is. Like.
Yeah. And so I guess by the end of episode 7, the search mission has ended up on the moon. The Unit 1 was very damaged and had to get repaired by Anaheim, which is, they have a base on the moon. And while on the moon, our hero, Ko, ends up befriending / meeting a one-year war ace who owns a mobile armor, and they end up fighting on the moon, which was pretty cool. Because like you said, we don't see a whole lot of the moon of Luna, about how it works and the cities on it. Like, I wrote down, like, I want a Gundam side story on the moon.
We almost see nothing about the moon. What we know so far about the moon? They're generally pacifist, or at least neutral to their own ends.
At least outwardly neutral.
Yeah, the first secret battle of the one-year war happened there between mobile suits.
Per the origin, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, like...
I don't recall much of it during the Zeta series, but it's been a while since I've watched those, so, I'm sure we visit there a little bit, but...
I think in Double Zeta it shows up more.
Could be. I don't recall.
But you think we'd have, I don't know, Lunar Gundam or something like that, or who knows. Hey, while we're talking about Luna, Brian, if you remember, I think Kelly Lasner, no, actually, I think Captain Synapse is saying, some guy named Kelly Lasner is attacking us or something.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
And Nina hears his name.
Mm-hmm.
She clearly met him, right? Because he was Gato's friend, so they'd probably been to a lot of parties just and stuff, and dinner as a group or something like that, right?
She did, and you can definitely tell that by the end of the episode, because, so I wrote this down as a good example of showing and not telling. She runs out into the battle on her little, I named it a skiff, for lack of a better term.
That's the perfect word for it.
I don't know where she found this little vehicle, but...
She stole it from the hangar bay, yeah.
Yeah, but like why did she choose that one of all things? I don't know, but...
Probably the only thing that can move.
Yeah, it reminded me of a skiff from Star Wars, so... She rides this little skiff out there, and she starts talking to Kelly, and she's like, Kelly, you're acting like Gato. We can work this out. And Kelly replies, Nina, like, what are you doing here, or something like that. And then he accidentally shoots her little skiff. So yeah, clearly that was the moment I think you were supposed to realize that Nina's previous boyfriend, which had been alluded to, was Gato.
Is Kelly from the moon, or is he from Side 3 and he just stayed on the moon?
Oh, I assumed that he was from Side 3, otherwise I don't know why he would love Zeon so much, but I guess he could be from the moon. I mean, they're space noids as well, I suppose.
That makes more sense. Originally, I thought Gato was from Luna too, but then I was like, no, he clearly was stationed on the moon and met Nina, but...
I'm not sure. Maybe there's some source that says where they are.
Ironically, I wonder if that meant Gato was under Caecilia's chain of command at one point. If he was on the moon, she was at Granada.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe
he didn't care for her, or he really didn't... once all the zombies were dead, he was like, well, Delaz has to call the shots anyways, so...
Yeah, this guy has a Guazine class ship. I think I'll get on it.
Yeah. it's heading away from the battle.
All right, so let's jump to the intro, Isaac. We get a glimpse of a Baoku. It's a flashback to 0079. Gato is cleaving through some gyms in his custom Gelgoog. As much of a fan of Gato that you are, it sounds like you do not enjoy Gato's custom colors.
No, I don't. And those colors don't go together. And I think the listeners will agree with me, because that deep turquoise on like green, it doesn't work.
I think what's jarring to me about it, I don't mind it. I have the model of it. I'm excited to build it. I think what's weird to me is that he has the pilot hatch colored bright yellow, as if it's like, please shoot me here. It's very much Batman, right, where he has the yellow symbol.
Maybe that's like an insult to like the Federation, It's
like you can't hit me, yeah.
Yeah, he'll paint like his reactor red just to give him the middle finger, since they can't kill him anyway.
What I did like about that battle, Isaac, was that it's very quick, but you do see Gato's Gelgoog get damaged just kind of from stray fire, basically, I think. And that just goes to show you that a Baoku was so hectic that the battle was complete luck, pretty much, if you were coming out of there alive. Like, I felt like MS Igloo showed that very well, right? When people just launched and they would just get destroyed by random, beams and stuff coming in that they had no way of knowing was there.
Yeah, it was such hell. He loses his Gelgoog, and then when he's actually in the Guazine talking to Delaz, he's just trying to get into any dom he can get into That wasn't his Dom, right?
No, it was not. And so this Dom is very interesting, Isaac. This Dom looks like a Dom Tropin, which, as you know, is a land-based suit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some people over the years have wondered, like, why is he being an idiot trying to get into a Dom Tropin? Like, it's not going to work well if he takes it out. And some people thought, oh, just like you said, he's just trying to get anything with a gun, just float me out there and I'll go fight again. But now whether it's just an animation error or whatever, the official story now is that Dom was a prototype Rick Dom Zui or Zwei. I'm not sure how you say the Zui or Zwei part. But that Rick Dom is the step between the Rick Dom 1 and the Rick Dom 2. And the Rick Dom 2 was built specifically for space use, whereas the Rick Dom 1, I believe, was converted from the original Dom, which was the land Dom. The wiki says that it was perhaps a Rick Dom 2 built on a Dom Tropin body because it wasn't fully into the Rick Dom 2 yet, so that's why it looks like that. But it has a special coloring. It's red. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it's very not like a space Dom, none that we've seen.
Yeah, it's a Dom Tropin outwardly, but apparently it is officially known as the prototype Rick Dom Zui. So there you go.
I don't blame the animation team for look, we put a lot of time into the Dom Tropin design, and we don't have one for the original Dom, so we're just gonna put the Dom Tropin in space. It's on screen for 5 seconds, and then we'll do a close up, and no one will know the difference.
No one will notice, and then little do they know there was probably that guy right after he got his videotape in the mail. He's like, "That was a Dom Tropin. You can't. Like, it doesn't make any sense. This is a space fortress."
How desperate is Xeon?
I also liked about that battle that right away Delaz knew that Cassilia had somehow sabotaged Giran or committed some sort of coup.
Yeah, the officer on his bridge reading the message was like, "Oh, Commander Giran's been killed, and Cassilia is in command now." So, yeah, Delaz did not take that news well. he lost a couple of years of his heart stamina on that one.
So that's our introduction to Delaz and Gato. And basically Delaz convinces Gato not to go out and to bide his time. So 3 years later, we end up in 0083, Isaac. You're home.
Yay. If you watch this in Zeta, I know we're here now in 2022, and we weren't even around when Zeta came out or the original Suit Gundam. But I can definitely see people kind of scratching their heads and saying, what the heck happened to cause an organization like the Titans to show up? And this is the answer. So whoever realized that they needed to make 0083 was pretty clever.
Yeah, I think it's a great fill-in, right?
Right. It was definitely needed.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans are a huge part of Zeta Gundam too, so explaining them, I think, is a really good move.
Yeah.
So we open sort of in present day, or in 0083, we start seeing our heroes training at Torrington Base, Isaac. They're helping the team test out the powered gym, which is like this souped up gym on steroids. I know you like thick suits, Isaac. Where does the powered gym rank on your gym scale? Because I gotta say, the powered gym's pretty cool, but apparently there were only 2 made, and they don't really appear in any other work, which I think is a little odd. Maybe it makes sense lore-wise because they were kind of like a test bed type thing, but they look pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. I even like the color scheme, right? And the big backpack's cool. I think even Keith said, right, that thing should be on a Zaku. It's too big for the gym.
Yeah, and it has that big gun. It looks pretty neat. I like it.
Ironically, maybe Keith had a hand in the development of the Hyzak, because we did eventually get kind of mobile suits like that. But anyways, I thought it was pretty cool. It's clearly very fast. But again, unfortunately, as we saw with the Gundam Jack, it's not invincible.
Yeah, it did seem a lot faster, but at the same time, I don't know that it performed all that much better, right?
No, in the hands of an Ace, it probably would have done better, because those Ace Xeon pilots in older suits clearly outmatched them most of the time.
Yeah, with some fancy footwork.
Oh man, I love the way the Dom on the night attack at the base, like once it starts getting shot at, it does like a backward spin-a-rooney and then gets out of there.
It does, yes. It's like the Doms are like really good at flag football, like the spin moves you had to do when you were a kid playing flag football.
They spin their skirt on purpose.
Can't hit those guys.
Kotz. Remember Kotz? Poor guy. I forgot about him. Yeah. God, rewatching this whole series, I know we're kind of running off on my tangent, but man, there's so many things I forgot, and I watched again, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember big blonde quiet guy on the bridge, Kotz. I forgot about Kotz.
One thing I forgot, Isaac, was there's this song in the Powered Gym training sequence. It doesn't get as much praise as The Winner or Men of Destiny from this show, but it's still really good. I really like it. It's called Back to Paradise. It's also by Miki Matsubara. She's the person who did The Winner. You know, it's the one that goes back to. I can't do it, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the opening song, but it's somewhat slower and a bit more mellow.
Correct. It also has the fly like the wind, fly like the wind.
That gave me a lot of Top Gun feels. And oh God, we're going to run off a tangent again. Yeah, but I mean, hang on. The more I was watching it, I was like, this is nothing like Top Gun. Like, I don't get... Like, did the creators of the show fully watch all of Top Gun, or did they see the trailer to Top Gun? Because their personality-wise, they're nothing like the top aces of, you know, the Federation. These are just a bunch of young test pilots. And Top Gun's story never cut back and forth between, like, the Soviets and, like, the United States, you know? It was just purely the United States, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's Top Gun in the sense that the military feel is Top Gun, right? The test pilots. But beyond that, yeah, there's not really any similarities.
They very quickly stopped being test pilots after like episode 2. And then they just become actual combat pilots as they...
Yeah, they don't have a lot of choice, right?
Yeah. So. I guess there's a little bit of testing, but yeah, we're kind of past that phase.
So Isaac, we also meet the Pegasus class ship of the show, which is called the Albion.
Oh, man.
And they make a comment here, Isaac, that the Albion, it was either Synapse, it's probably Synapse that makes the captain of the ship, Captain Synapse. He mentions that the Albion has 211 crew members. And in my mind, I was like, that seems like a lot. I did not get the sense that the white base was rolling with 200 people on board. Did you?
No. I mean, well, you have to remember the white base was like a skeleton civilian crew.
True. But then I started to wonder, is the Albion just way bigger than the white base?
Yeah, it looks bigger to me. Like, maybe not height-wise, but it definitely looks like they stretched it out.
So here we go. I did some calculations because the measurements are available.
Oh, wow. Are these canon?
Well, I don't know. They're on the wiki, so if you want to fault me for using the wiki, go ahead. But this is quick and dirty here. So based on height, length, and width, I did a quick volume calculation. The Albion is 13% larger by volume than the white base, primarily in the length category. The Albion is 305 meters long, and the white base is only 262 meters. That's a pretty big difference. The other height and width, they're very similar. Now, empty weight, though. The white base was only 32,000 metric tons empty. The Albion, however, was 48,900. So the Albion is 53% heavier when empty than the white base, which is significant.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, the cafeteria scene, we saw how crowded that was. There's way more people in the hangar bays than we ever saw in white base.
Yep.
They have a good number of people on the bridge. They technically have more people than they should, I assume, because they have some civilians from Anaheim on board.
Yeah.
And they have the aces on board, too. So you could easily lose a lot of 200 people in there. There'd be engineering and other sections, the weapons sections, we don't see gunners and stuff like that. The bridge, hangar crew, and then like support services. Don't forget the mandatory Federation chef.
Hey, you gotta have that chef, man. He's keeping your salt levels correct.
Yeah, he's got to make those hamburgers that he was passing out on the bridge.
Again, going back to my liking things that are showing, not telling. What I really loved in this first episode was that Captain Synapse had authorization to open the nuclear storage bunker. They didn't start out by saying nuclear weapons have been banned, blah, blah, blah. They just went into this thing where he had this access that everyone was surprised that he had the access, and they said, oh, we haven't opened this in a long time. It made it feel like special. I liked that.
Yeah, and unfortunately that was the last act that base commander really did of importance.
Yeah, oops. What's up with Lieutenant Burning? Is he just really tan? Or, like, what's the deal?
You know what? It's funny you mention that, because I know it says this on the website, but I'd really like to challenge it and even suggest we retcon it, because that man is not 29 years old. I don't care how close he was to a colony drop or how much he used to work outside under the sun. He is not 29. That man is maybe 42, 44.
Oh, yeah.
He is not a 29-year-old man. But yes, he enjoys his time in the Australian sun because, man, he's worn out like leather.
He is burned to a crisp.
He's got the skin of a leather wallet, a brown leather wallet.
He is an alligator walking around up there.
Yeah.
But so I didn't realize that he was 29. But that makes sense because I did see, though, that Monsha is listed as 27, which I also firmly disagree with. I think he is late 30s at best.
Motion to up-age Monsha and Lieutenant Bernie. God, should I check how old Ko is? He's probably going to be 19 or something.
Ko is 19.
Okay. I can take that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that I'm okay with. Like,
yeah.
In fact, he kind of acts like he's 14 sometimes, but...
Oh, God, yeah. I was like, this kid must be 18. Like, he must have been the youngest they can possibly recruit him, because, yeah.
Now, I know that our listeners, particularly our military listeners, corrected us that it was okay for Nina to be in charge of the Gundam based on real-world scenarios.
Yeah.
That said, I still don't like the loading of the nuke the night before.
Yeah, I mean... Maybe I guess we never find out from the members of our military if they know what's good for them, right? I was about to say, if your base is like literally in the middle of nowhere, there's not even a town nearby or something, is it normal to not really have like guards around important situations?
I think they tried to solve this. There was a line in the very beginning where Gato is like, I can't believe the bases are just wide open like this. And the guy who picks him up, it says something like, all the Federation bases are like this right now. And I guess they were trying to imply that basically since the war is over, that the Federation doesn't care anymore.
Well, yeah, they're right. I mean, oh, wow. Well, no, I was about to say, do you think the conspirators had a hand in that? Or that might be too low of a detail for them to possibly have a hand in?
I wouldn't put it past them. But at that point, I mean, why don't you just give him the damn thing? Like, just ship it to him. You know what I mean?
Pull an Anaheim and just leave a nuke drifting in space and say, oh, right. I don't know what happened. You could have gone anywhere.
That's a good point. Did they actually need Unit 2 or did they just need a nuke?
I think they needed Unit 2 to fire it. Well, actually, no, because they could have just used a missile, I guess.
Just manufacture the bazooka.
Yeah.
And the nuke. Whoops.
I don't know.
Could have saved a lot of money on that one.
Yeah, we're kind of nitpicking, like what could have been done. my main what could have been done, if the Valvaro made it to the Delaz Fleet, how much of an impact would that have had?
That's a great question because Ko was barely able to deal with the Noisiel. Now, if it was Noisiel and the Valvaro, then yeah, I think they'd be in serious trouble.
I was thinking about that, and then part of me was like, hang on. The Drobium was immune to beam weapons.
That's true.
And that's kind of all the Valvaro had. I mean, it would have to fly up and claw them to death, right?
Yeah, I'd have to use those pincers, but it would be easier, though, right, if the Noisiel had some help to do the physical damage as well, so.
Yeah, that's true. And
it's a good thought. I like it.
I wonder how it would have... Well, it still would have gotten cooked a bit from the solar system.
Yeah, true. During the Gundam Jack, Isaac, what's your take on Nina seeing Gato steal it and not realizing that it's Gato? Was it just too far away? Or now I've heard some people, before you answer, I've heard some people say that now this show did have a change in director after episode 7. So 1 to 7 was done by some person and 8+ was done by someone else. Now I don't know that that's the right explanation, but I could kind of see that. But then that it kind of implies that they don't really know where the story was going, which I don't know that I agree with that. But I don't know. What's your take on that? Is it too far? Should we just say she can't see?
Part of me, well, putting aside change of director and all that, in order to make it make sense, part of me wants to give Nina the benefit of the doubt by saying, look, for all she knows, Gato died, or he's at Side 3, or whatever. There's no way this guy on Earth is him that she's looking at, the back of his head, the ponytail.
He does have like white hair though, so it's like pretty strikingly unique.
She should recognize someone with the hair of her ex from the back in a different location and in a different context years later.
Yeah, I did read, I don't remember if it's either a novelization or maybe it's the newer retelling manga that's, changes some details. One of them gives him a helmet during this scene.
Huh.
To kind of explain why she doesn't recognize him, but
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I mean, she's at work, she's focused on the prototype, the testing, way across the hangar, some other guy in the uniform, the back of his head has a white ponytail, so what, but he's getting in the cockpit. So she's all on instinct, get out of there, whoever you are, stop what you're doing.
About Gato, Isaac, when he fights Ko, when Burning's team is pursuing Gato after he's already stolen Unit 2 and they're trying to recover him, he could have killed Ko that night, but he didn't.
Yeah, there's a part where like he goes airborne and kind of stomps on his back with one foot and then leaves.
Yeah, and he like easily could have stabbed him. He calls him like, you poor kid, what are you doing out here, or something like that. I like that because it at least shows that Gato has some morals. Like, he's not out just to kill people, just to be killing people.
Did Gato know it was the soldier he just passed in the hangar bay?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, he knows Ko's a young idiot because Ko, addressed him as sir while they were in combat.
And what does Gato say? I'm the enemy, you idiot.
Yeah. Gato was saying like, oh, you should have a better, if you're actually in combat, you should have a better picture if you don't want to be a grunt or something like that.
Yeah, look at the whole picture, I think is what he tells him. So I would have liked to have seen a Burning versus Gato match, Isaac.
Wow. Yeah. Burning in what, though?
That's a good question.
I think he went on a regular gym, right?
Well, it was the gym Type C or the gym Kai or whatever, so it's a better gym. I don't like that color scheme on that gym with the pink. I don't like that at all. But
kind of a salmon sand.
You were giving me crap for not saying that Soletta's hair is like Amuro, and now you're throwing salmon at me.
All right, you got me there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess supposedly that's a pretty good gym, so it probably would have been that.
Is giving Keith the Zaku, like, kind of saying, like, we know you're going to die, so take, like, the least important mobile suit we have.
Well, I think they just give the trainees, the least important one, so in case they mess them up, it's not a big deal.
Well, I meant in the pursuit of the Gundam, like, when they actually needed, weapon-capable mobile suits, because they get Kotz went out in a Zaku also. Actually, well, they might not have told everybody what to get into. It might have just been a case of get into a mobile suit now.
Yeah, well, I think it's whatever's tuned for them, right? I mean, he has to take what's available and ready to go. Like, they don't have time to be like, oh, you want to use something else? Let me go change all the settings.
Yeah. It's too bad about Kotz. I would have liked to see more of him. Poor bastard. I mean, that was a great death, but, like, god damn. All he had to do was boost. He forgot to boost.
You fool.
Yeah, if we're ever dueling in mobile suits in the future, Brian, like, and I'm coming at you when we're sparring, like, just boost and you can dodge my heat saber.
Yeah, he didn't last long. He, like, walked right out and just
stayed where he was and started shooting. And then the Dom was like, oh, this will be easy.
Yeah, this is terrible. What about the submarine crew, Isaac? The Xeon sub crew that ended up being key to the escape?
Yeah, the Yukon. Dare I say they're responsible for the majority of the damage at the base because they just bombarded that thing with missiles.
Oh, yeah, they rained down those, like, I don't know what to call them, but like those splitter missile type things.
Scatter missiles, yeah. They should have gotten medals for how great that operation went. My God.
Poor Torrington Base got torn up.
As usual. Yeah, this is the first time we see it, and it's a taste of what's to come.
Just more destruction.
Over the decades, yeah.
Xeon is very successful at penetrating this base. So
yeah, I don't know what it is about this base, but we need to close it and move it.
It is Xeon's mistress.
Xeon's mistress. Xeon comes over whenever it wants and it just plows through.
But does that mean the sub crew was just submarining around for 3 years? That's a terrible life.
I mean, I assume they were doing various raids, or they hunkered down very much like the African Xeon remnants. Yeah, maybe they found some friendly port or some secret port nobody knew about, and they just stayed there until Delaz contacted them and said, hey, I've got a great idea.
And around this time, Isaac, the Federation does at least send some help. So they send the Immortal 4th Team, which is Burning's old comrades from the 1 Year War, Monsha, Bait, and Adele to help, along with some new suits. And I would say that Monsha's kind of the main one that we get to know the most. Is that fair?
Yes, unfortunately, because Monsha is like one of the worst people in the show.
He is. I guess I don't remember him being that bad, but yeah, he's just a real piece of garbage.
No one on the side of Xeon treats their fellow like members of their faction that way.
Yeah, which continues what we talked about from 0079, right? Which is generally the Xeon officers are fairly noble at least in how they carry themselves, even if you may disagree with what they're doing. Whereas the Federation, you may agree with what they're doing, but man, just again, they're all going to the Bascom school of terribleness.
Yeah, just absolute power corrupts absolutely. The Xeon, they've got that whole ideals and that they strive for that kind of keeps them in check. But the Federation, it's just another day at the office, really.
Yeah.
What are the Federation ideals? We never find out.
No, keep order, I guess.
How's that going?
Not well. But yeah, he's just a garbage human being, and he's always drunk, pretty much. And they allow him to, like, pilot mobile suits drunk, which should be like a DUI 10 times over, right?
Yeah, and also, like, he does, like, childish pranks. Like, he messed up Ko's landing in the core fighter.
That's right.
That could have gone bad. I forgot that blonde guy. What's his name?
Either Bait or Adele. I'm not sure which one's which.
Yeah, whichever one he is. I forgot. He's a bit of a scumbag, too.
Correct, yeah.
He was, defending Monsha in the hangar bay when Mora was confronting him about how he was harassing the women. And
right.
Yeah, but the other guy actually seems pretty good. Mustache. Because if you remember, he really didn't want to be involved at all with the prank on Ko. Potentially lethal prank. Prank isn't even a right word. The sabotage of Ko.
Right.
So I think he's the one good guy. And later on, he'll actually be the one that tells Ko, it's up to you, really, at Kanpei Island. You're the only one that can really get to Gado.
Yeah, I agree. He's the only one of the fourth team where I was like, okay, you're okay. The other two, you blonde guy to a lesser degree, but you're both just terrible people.
Brian, when Lieutenant Burning dies, do they stop calling them the Immortal Fourth Team? They just call them the Fourth Team?
It's a fair question, I think.
That's something Cima would say over the radio. She's laughing at them.
So at this point, we do get that episode where this whole like weird triangle between Monsha and Nina and Ko is a little strange to me, but Monsha really wants to go out with Nina because he likes blondes, essentially, even though he has no real chance, and he ends up challenging Ko to be the pilot of Unit 1, and they have a duel, and Ko is like dead to rights during this duel, Isaac, but then he kind of gets lucky, and the footing that he's on breaks, and he ends up losing. But like during the duel, Ko foolishly like walks into what I assume is colony wreckage.
Yeah.
And he's just walking all loudly like, oh, is he in here? And I was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, this is a terrible strategy.
It did kind of work in Ko's favor because he was able to kind of, tackle him.
I guess, but if Monsha's footing hadn't failed, Ko was going to lose, so.
Yeah, but that's combat. That's how it goes. Things don't always go according to plan, and even if you're some kind of ace, if things don't go your way, they just don't go your way. Oh, did you notice that everybody has a different symbol on the side of their helmet?
I did, and I was going to ask you about that. So Keith has the heart with the slash through it. I love Ko's. It has a kangaroo on it, which I thought was hilarious because they're based out of Australia. Was. Yeah.
I was wondering what that was. I was like, is that some type of swoosh logo or something like that?
Yeah, it's a kangaroo with boxing gloves, I'm pretty sure. So
okay.
See, that's something that if you were going to build like a master grade GPO-1, they should include a decal for that. Like, that would be super cool.
Yeah, it would be. Did you notice the drawing on the back of the Zommel?
No, what was it?
Oh, man. So it's like a busty woman, and it says like Sieg Zeon.
Oh, awesome. I love it.
The more you discover on this, the 20th rewatch, the Zommel, it was the size of a small hill next to a GM.
Zommel is enormous, yes.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it wasn't able to, like, with its weight, just crush the GMs when they were in combat.
Yeah, it almost did.
Yeah, I mean, it could like ram them against the rocks, but for whatever reason, I guess Federation engineering, they weren't just splatted in half.
Maybe the reason for it being so big, Isaac, is because the wiki says, and I think we discussed this one other time, maybe when we talked about Igloo, but it is apparently developed from the Hidalfer from Igloo.
Yeah, it's definitely a much more mobile version of it.
Yeah.
Because, say what you will about the Zommel and how we've only seen one, but that thing can move. It might be the size of a small hill, but it's quick. It's apparently great for taking down bases, but man, it's a bit limited in its abilities.
But it served its purpose. I like those designs, right? The Zommel's very memorable. Yeah,
you don't forget that, and it's definitely, I don't know. It was such a surprise seeing how big it was next to the GMs.
Yeah, I was sad when neither of the Dom pilots nor the Zommel pilot made it out. I mean, you kind of knew that was going to happen, right, going in, but
I was kind of happy though that Keith killed the Dom.
It was a bit of a luck kill, though. Didn't he just kind of slash him in the arm and it just caused the reactor to blow up or something?
Yeah, but I mean, a kill's a kill, and that guy definitely had way more experience than Keith.
That's true. So once Gato gets away initially, he then heads to Africa because that's where there's this abandoned diamond mine base that is being occupied by Zeon remnant forces, the Kimberlite forces. And they have, Isaac, an HLV.
Yeah, they do.
They can take him to space. They've been saving it up, and this is what they're going to use it on.
They also have diamonds, including a massive diamond. It's next to worthless because they can't leave the base.
Yeah, that diamond was enormous. They should probably try to sell it.
Yeah, I get that might raise too many questions, Well, where's this from? And, who gave this to you? But yes, glad they gave it to Gato to take away.
So there were only 2 points in the first 7 episodes where I felt Ko did a good piloting maneuver. So the first is here when he was fighting the Kimberlite forces. Monsha is in charge and he orders Ko to break through, which was a real move, Isaac, because it was basically, they were pinned down and he was basically using Ko as a meat shield, right?
Sounds about right for Monsha.
Yeah, well, Ko, flips out of the trench and he takes out 2 of the 4 in front of them with these fancy maneuvers.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, and then he rendezvoused with the Albion and he shot down the commander who was about to destroy the Albion. So Ko did great this battle with the Kimberlite forces.
Yeah.
What is up with capital ships losing hardcore when or like letting the enemy get in?
I don't know what to chalk it up to. Minovsky particles, the commander was the only one that made it that close. So I assume he's an ace. He's top of his class. But yeah, it happens in war. Dare I say, Federation ships are notorious for enemy mobile suits being able to get to the bridge, land on top of their bridge.
So, spoilers: the HLV does launch, and Gato does escape to space. Once they get to space, Isaac, Gato meets Cima and Delaz at the same time. Was that just like one of your favorite episodes?
It was a good confrontation. I mean, that going to the Garden of Thorns was so cool anyways. We see where Zeon, the Delaz Fleet's hiding out. We see Delaz has gone full megalomaniac with his throne room that I guess he must have been in Delaz's throne room, I guess, a few times because it looks a lot like it. His whole little busted gear in. And, of course, the face-to-face meeting with Cima. Man, Gato's really polite.
After she leaves, he does say she has a black heart.
Yeah, he's willing to talk behind her back.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the Garden of Thorns?
Sure. It's built in a shoal zone. It looks like it's an asteroid connected to the ruins of a colony, and the Delaz Fleet uses it as their base. You can see a bunch of moose eyes sort of attached to the makeshift docking bays they've made, and also the Guazine. It's pretty dangerous to navigate. That's why the Federation doesn't really go in there. There's just too much debris. So it's a great place to hide. Plus with Minovsky particles, it's going to be very difficult to find the Delaz Fleet's base.
And I wish they would have given more of that background in the show, because I think it's important that Delaz is not at Axis.
Yeah.
That becomes key later on. I feel like there could have been some more expository stuff there.
Yeah, maybe just like an offhand comment rather than Admiral, like, well, we don't know if they're in the shoal zones or someplace between the sides. We're unable to locate them.
Right.
And then we'd be like, oh, okay, of course they're in the shoal zone. Where else would they be?
Yeah. but I think visually too, it's just very interesting.
Yeah, you're going into it and you're like, what are we looking at all this wreckage? And then you get closer and closer and you're like, oh God, there's a fleet there.
This is the point where, so Cima leaves that meeting, and it becomes very clear that Gato and Cima do not like each other, right?
Well, she almost rammed him.
Yeah.
We can't break. It's too late.
Which, okay, side note, I'm going to mention this now. The Blu-rays include the series, and they also include the compilation movie, which I thought was interesting. I didn't realize it included that. But it also includes the 2 Cima shorts. So, Isaac, when we first watched this show back in the day, when we were wee lads, there was only 1 Cima short. They made another one in 2015, 2016. I think we may have to dedicate another episode to the 2 shorts called The Mayfly of Space.
I'd love it.
Yeah, because during that, we learn a little bit why they don't like each other.
Yeah, and without giving too much away, it's not Shima's fault.
Right.
So we'll get more into that.
But it calls back to the prototype Rick Dom's Wii, Isaac, because in one of the, I think it's the second special apparently, Gato uses it in a little tussle with Shima. So
Wow. Did he beat her, or was it like close?
I don't know. I guess my point is, listeners, if you like this show, I highly recommend that you go check out the 2 shorts, The Mayfly of Space, because they give a lot of background about Shima that's not super clear in the show.
She definitely acts like she won any fight that they had.
Right, yeah.
Shima's so cool.
I would love to see it. I mean, they're both cool pilots. So.
Yeah, man. What could have been?
So I take it then that you like her color scheme a lot better than his.
Oh, her Gelgoog? Are you kidding? That looks amazing. The purple and the that kind of orange khaki. That looks so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks like an ace. You know, his colors are too dark. His colors blend too much with space.
You know what my problem is? They don't sell a master grade Gelgoog Marine, I don't think, unless I'm getting it confused with the Gelgoog Jaeger.
No, you're right. The Gelgoog Marine, which is weird because it's a really cool design. I wonder what's so different about it. Actually, I'll have to look up on the differences between the Gelgoog Marine versus the regular Gelgoog, or what Xeon Marines did. That's completely different than regular Xeon troops.
Yeah, I don't know. They had more mottos or something.
They're way better at marching.
Isaac, this part where Shima intercepts Ko has one of my favorite parts. Ko and Monsha are arguing again, and Monsha is saying that he's going to wreck the Gundam. And Ko says, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to wreck it." And then he immediately takes Unit 1 out against Nina's wishes because it's not tuned for space, and he immediately gets completely like wrecked by Shima.
Yeah, like everybody knows something's wrong with his mobile suit. It like barely boosts around. Yeah, his math must have been really wrong, right? That he input into the computer.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
I wonder, like, in the aftermath of this, you'd almost think that like the captain would be mad at Nina.
Right, yeah.
Because he'd be like, look, you clearly should have engineered this properly and entered in whatever programming update you have to the computer. Like, we're in combat. Don't let the pilot do it himself. He's not an engineer.
I mean, she was mad at herself because she did the calculations. She just didn't give it to him.
Well, at the last minute.
She gave it to him at the last minute, and then he kind of brushed her off, right? But her thought was, if I don't give it to him, he can't take it out. Clearly, she underestimated Ko's stupidity.
It was his pride, really.
Yeah.
This whole episode was about pride, and God, how stupid. But it's a teenager, emotions are running high on the ship, so we can give them a little bit of a pass.
Isaac, this is also when Delaz breaks through the communications channel and gives his speech in front of Unit 2.
How did that happen? How can you... you think the conspirators had a hand in that? Ooh.
There you go.
They're like, you know what? We have to let this idiot talk so we can put it all on him. Make sure the channel like security is unencrypted so it's easy to hack or whatever.
I think here's where Delaz shines, Isaac. I think he's the best voice actor in the series.
Wow.
When he talks, you pay attention in this show. The speech was great. The fact that he was giving it in front of Unit 2, which has this, evil visage, right? And you even have, is Admiral Cohen that has the cool voice? That's Jet from Bebop. Same guy.
That's him.
Bo Billingsley.
Cohen.
Yeah, he calls him the ghost of Giran Zabi. I feel like the Federation and Xeon Brass were given really good voice actors.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's just such a powerful speech. Like, this is clearly a departure from the Xeon we saw in the 1 Year War, because they're just so obsessed with this myth of Xeon ideals and whatever that is. They never really talk about it. Well, they always say like space node independence and stuff like that. So part of me thinks if Stardust was a success, it would have resulted in the sides rebelling and joining Xeon, and Side 3 overthrowing the Republic of Xeon and, going full Principality of Xeon again. And Delaz envisioned himself as becoming the leader of all this and waging war on Earth and winning. Right? That was the game plan.
Yeah, he wanted to reignite Xeon under him, essentially.
Yeah.
I laughed because I was reading a little bit about him on the wiki, and it says that he promoted himself to his rank, and I thought I was like, oh, that's efficient.
I mean, no one else is left in the chain of command, so Battlefield.
Someone's got to do it, I guess.
And while I'm at it, I need a marble throne.
Requisition me one of those. I don't care how much it costs.
Put a bust of my best friend over the throne.
Maybe he gets shipments from that diamond mine.
We found some marble. We don't know what to do with it.
Right after that speech, Isaac, Cohen gives the Albion the bad news that he's not going to be able to give you any more support. Apparently, the Federation brass does not take Delaz seriously. Is that our first real hint of the conspiracy? It's an early one.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you'd have to rewatch the series in order to catch that. But yeah, clearly at this point, it's like, wow, Zeon's clearly able to, go deep into the Federation, steal a nuclear-equipped Gundam, and no one's really freaking out. Something else is going on here. It's very Chekhov's rifle, right? Where like that's a trope where they introduce like a rifle in like Act 1, and in Act 3 it's gonna get fired. So
right. Yeah, I mean you can't make a nuclear armed Gundam and not fire the nuke, right?
Yeah.
Now Unit 1 was very damaged by Cima. Like I'm surprised they were even able to fix it.
How come she switched to her forearm gun? Like, did her rifle run out of ammo?
Yeah, I was thinking either she was out of ammo or it was overheated, or maybe she was just fed up and she was just going to try something else because it wasn't working.
Yeah, man. Even the forearm gun was making quick work of it. She should have just stayed and killed him. I think she would have lived.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, what could have been.
Damn it, Cima. Then we could have had a different protagonist for the second half of the show.
After Ko, who gets it?
I don't know. Anyone, really. Keith would be, random new guy would also be acceptable over Ko.
Say what you will about Keith, but like he almost has like a luck factor. He might have actually pulled it off.
Yeah, he always survives, man.
Yeah, he made it to the end.
So because Unit 1's so damaged, Isaac, they go to the moon so that Anaheim can fix it, and we meet this cadre of Anaheim babes, as Keith puts it. And we talked about how the old guy at Anaheim, he probably just hires all these young women. Just a little odd.
You know something I noticed when they showed like for 2 seconds the Anaheim Electronics building, that there were a few men wearing suits in that same color. So this is clearly a corporate type uniform thing.
Oh,
but there are also people in regular suits and regular clothes, so I have no idea what it specifically means. It might be just an engineering thing.
Yeah, maybe the engineering people get like powder blue suits. Is that it?
Yeah, I guess so. But like even her boss doesn't have to wear it. He just has like a regular suit.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done with that. I'm the boss now. So. Now, while on the moon, Isaac, obviously Ko's suit, Unit 1, is busted. So he wanders around, and who does he meet?
Ko, well, first he meets a bunch of thuggish Lunarians. That's who he really meets, Brian.
That's true. You got me there.
They slap him around like he's a rag doll, and there's $20 sewn inside of him. And while he's unconscious, Kelly Lasner meets him. That's what happened, Brian. Oh my God.
Oh.
Poor guy. I guess like are pilots known for like not doing hand-to-hand combat training or something? Because man, most civilians like they beat him like a bad habit. Jesus Christ.
They laid into him pretty good.
Yeah,
right.
I figured like I don't know, Ko would have been able to knock down one and then the other ones would kind of back off, But no.
No.
You know what? Kelly looks like he could have beaten all three of them. And he's like a one-armed man, right? Kelly's a big guy.
He is a big guy. His design reminds me a lot of Kukuru's Doan.
Yeah. He's just a big guy that like works with his hands.
Yes.
Or
you don't
hand.
mess with that dude.
So yes, he meets Kelly Lasner on Luna after getting smacked around and beaten up by a bunch of civilians who didn't want him there. And Kelly takes him back to his junkyard, his massive junkyard.
Land must be cheap on the moon, Isaac.
Since they can build up and down, I assume, yeah, it is cheap. They just go deeper into the earth. They go deeper into the moon's crust.
Or he got in a good time.
Yeah.
When moon property prices were low.
He bought when interest rates were low and property prices were low. It was a foreclosure. He used his Xeon pension money.
So Ko and Kelly have some sort of philosophical pilot discussions about wanting to be a pilot, blah, blah, blah. But Kelly's got something in his junkyard, Isaac, that's just a little out of place.
Yeah. This is maybe one of the best looking mobile armors. It's the Valvaro, which I would describe as lobster crawfish from hell. Cycloptic crustacean of doom. Um, it's got like a cool mono eye, this really pointed nose thing, almost like a swordfish, really, and then 2 big lobster arms. And it's a huge mobile armor. It's really cool, and Kelly's been working on it.
Yeah, and Ko helps him finish it over the next night, basically, which I'm not sure that makes any sense, but...
Brian, I will never understand why Ko, even though he feels like he owes Kelly for looking after him, would fix this mobile armor. This is the dumbest thing Ko's done, because you have no idea if that thing's going to be turned on this city, on Granada, for all you know, he's going to head to Jabrow. Why?
Yes.
Why do this?
I 100% agree with you. And I totally get Kelly Lasner. His motivation makes sense to me. The most tragic person in the show is probably his wife or girlfriend. I think her name is Latura?
Her name is Bumblebee Tuna.
Tuna, whatever.
She's good with mayo.
And she also likes
and
mustard
celery.
and pickles in hers. Like him, I totally get. Her, I totally get. That part's done well. But Ko here, you're right. This is the worst part of the show in terms of logic and believability. This makes 0 sense, Isaac. Why is he helping the enemy? He sees this mobile armor in this dude's garage. Does this look like a Federation unit to you, Ko, Mr. Gundam fan? What do you think he's going to do with it when he fixes it? Is he going to take it to a parade? A one-year war reenactment? Like,
we're going to reenact it by killing a lot of people.
What was going through Ko's head here? And then when Kelly's wife comes back, Latura comes back, she goes, "Oh, Ko, why are you helping the enemy?" And Ko goes, "Oh, the enemy?" So Ko clearly didn't put 2 and 2 together that this dude was an ex-Zeon pilot, and not just any Zeon pilot either. They don't just give any random pilot a mobile armor, Isaac.
Yeah, you have to be pretty good to get it, and you have to be fanatical to build one on your own. So
yes,
that's the type of person Kelly is. I understand he's been through a lot. He wants to help out. You know, he's suffering through the difficulties of, you know, wanting to be able-bodied and serve the cause. But unfortunately, he's going to do a lot of damage. If you think about it, if Ko didn't help him, Kelly would have lived happily ever after, I assume, in the junkyard, and there wouldn't even been the fight outside of the city.
Absolutely. Latura tells him as much. She's like, "Why are you helping him build this?" After all these years, he had finally given up on building this thing. And Ko just ignores it and is like, she seems upset, but I'm just going to help him build it because I like piloting and he's a pilot too. And he seems like a good guy and blah, blah, blah. But then this is what makes it unforgivable. So that already makes no sense, Isaac. And then he hears Cima talking to Kelly and getting Kelly on board for Operation Stardust. Yeah. And he goes, "You're going to be part of the Delaz Fleet." And then they get into a fist fight or whatever, and Ko, runs away. He sees Nina, and he's like, "I gotta do something." And he runs away again. Have you noticed that Ko's problem-solving strategy is just run away?
It's very appropriate for perhaps a young man of his age.
So now, not only does he know that he's a Zeon pilot, but he also knows that he's going to participate in Operation Stardust, probably with the mobile armor, Isaac, because why else would you be fixing it? So then what does he do? He runs back to Kelly and helps him fix it. Kelly's going to use it to kill all of Ko's friends. Yeah,
and maybe even Ko. So it's peak stupidity, but I think that whole, pilot to pilot, warrior to warrior logic was what they were really hoping we'd understand and kind of nod our heads at. So yeah, I guess it makes sense in that very primitive type thinking where, we both need to fight on the battlefield, so I'll help you with your weapon, and then we'll meet in combat, and thank you for saving me and looking after me. We understand each other more, and blah, blah, blah.
I agree with that if they do battle right away. If you know that you're going to be the one fighting them. It doesn't make sense, though, for you to fix it and be like, "All right, well, good luck." Like, for all Ko knows, he's never going to see this guy. But then, in the next episode, Isaac, Ko's in the ship, and they get the alert that a mobile armor's attacking, and Ko goes, "Oh no, I wonder if it's Kelly." I wonder, Ko. I wonder. What if it's Kelly? Do you think it's Kelly? I think it might be him, Ko.
In Ko's defense, I'm sure maybe he was thinking, apparently Cima and her little assistant were thinking the same too. There's no way a one-armed man's going to pilot a mobile armor. So Ko was probably like, okay, this guy's a fanatic. Sure, I'll help this guy out. He wants to build this thing for the enemy. Whatever, I'm a warrior too. I can understand. So yeah, maybe he did really assume that, well, Shima's going to send somebody to pilot it. Somebody I don't know, and then I'll blow it out of the sky because I'm in the latest and best from Anaheim Electronics, and this thing is very old from the 1 Year War.
But there's no guarantee that he was going to fight it. That's my point. Like,
Yeah.
he's just giving someone else a bad day by fixing it.
Yeah.
It ended up that he fought it, but he had no guarantee that was going to happen.
Again, our characters don't make the best decisions. Wait till we get to Nina Purpleton.
And yeah, so again, I think Kelly's wife/girlfriend Latura here is probably the second best voice actor in this show. I feel like she really sold it. She was, at this point, Ko has helped Kelly fix the thing. She's yelling at Kelly. She's like, why did you make friends with a Federation soldier? And she is pissed. She like throws his helmet at him. Like, I feel like it's overshadowed by Ko's stupidity by helping him fix the mobile armor.
Yeah.
But the whole Kelly and Latura thing is pretty tragic, and I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that voice actress really sold it. She did a great job.
Yeah, it is overshadowed, and you do forget about her as the series goes on, but a very tragic end to Kelly, and of course to the love of her life as well.
Oh, Isaac, there was so two things about episode 7 that I wanted to point out. Ko kind of wimps out on asking Nina out to the movies or something. That was excruciatingly painful to watch.
I felt so bad for Nina, and I guess our friend did too, waiting in the hallway.
Yes,
like,
yes.
You idiot. You didn't even pay for the tickets. Keith did. Just give them to Nina.
Ko is just the worst, listeners. I can't do it with Ko.
It's very rare that we have such a
nincompoop.
Yeah, he's almost in his own category as far as Gundam protagonists go.
I think he might be.
I'll say this about him though. He does have a bit of an arc, so good for him. Man, does he start low.
It's a high arc, Isaac.
There can't be any Ko fans. Comment below if, like, seriously, if you're a Ko fan. You can't be. That's why everyone's a Gato fan, because Gato's pretty awesome.
Did you notice that the name of the movie on the ticket is also the name of the episode, The Shining Blue Fire, except it's misspelled to be The Shinning Blue Fire?
Yeah, I know.
And all I can think about is that episode of The Simpsons where Willie talks to Bart about the shinin, and Bart goes, "Don't you mean The Shining?" And Willie goes, "No, the shinin. You don't want to get sued, do you?"
Yeah, I was reading that. I was like, I don't think that's how you spell shining. And then I was like, no, they messed it up. I don't know how, but they messed it up.
The other thing I thought was cool about episode 7, Isaac, is, and again, this is something that you may not catch on the first watch, you may have to go back and realize what just happened, is when Cima goes and talks to the Anaheim guy. And now I'm realizing that I don't even know the Anaheim guy's name. I don't even know if they ever say it. But
it's Corporate McTrader. That's his name.
He says, "I don't want any problems on Luna," and she says, "Well, we would benefit if you gave us better mobile suits."
She's so rude at every encounter. Like when the guy meets her, when they're talking in his office, like this guy has like the thickest skin, right? Everything like goes off his back. Like what's it called? Like water off a duck's back.
I mean, he must be getting paid a lot at some stage of this, right?
Yeah, he's always smiling and keeping his hands folded and like, oh, sure, whatever you want.
Two things here. One, she says something very profound, which she says, because he's ranting to her about how he doesn't want problems on Luna. And she says, well, it's really you Lunarians that throw the world into chaos. And I was like, that's kind of true, because Anaheim plays both sides for years. Like, they are the source of so much of these problems.
After hearing that line and that scene, I almost want like a Luna side story where we dive into how Anaheim's been manipulating the Federation and Zeon, and how, you know, for many decades, they really were milking this thing for all it was worth until they got outcompeted by like SNRI.
The other thing about this scene is that he says, okay, you know, she put in the request for mobile suits. So he promises her one that's just about to be rolled out. It's going to turn out to be her suit called the Gabura Tetra. But before it's that, it used to be the GP4 or Unit 4, which does have a model kit, Isaac. It's not a master grade, but it's a Reborn 100, and it looks pretty cool. I like it.
I almost feel like they mentioned it too early, right? Because we don't see it until literally almost the end of the show.
Yeah, it's got to be the last 3 episodes, not before that, I don't think.
Yeah, I wish we saw it almost immediately after, right? That would have made more sense, but it's shown all too briefly.
Yeah, I could live with the timing if they had at least just shown it more.
Yeah.
There could have been a whole episode where he fought Cima and they drew it out a little bit longer. Or maybe even, if Gato dueled her or something. I don't know. But the Valvaro fight actually happens, Isaac. The guy, I don't remember his name, but the little grunt that Cima sent to go pay off Kelly to just take the Valvaro instead of having him pilot it, that's kind of what pushed him over the edge, right? And he's like, well, I'm just going to go try to kill the Gundam and they'll have to take me back. Did you love how Cima just sentenced that guy to death by sending him out to try to confront the Valvaro, and Kelly just ran him over? Like, that was one of the best deaths in the series.
To an extent, he earned it, right? Because
he did.
Cima didn't let on at all that he wasn't going to pilot it. That Kelly was not going to pilot the Valvaro. Mm-hmm. So this idiot really tipped his hand way too early. He should have paid, have Kelly actually take the Valvaro out to the fleet. And then,
right.
Once he climbs aboard a ship or something, they can do the swap.
Right, which was no doubt the plan, except this guy.
Yeah. I'm sure Shima's also upset because this reflects badly on her too, right? Because we're going to lose the Valvaro. And that was kind of the whole reason I made this trip.
Yeah, so to your point, how do you think the Delaz would have done if he had both the Valvaro and the Noisiel? Because I got to imagine mobile armors are hard to come by these days.
I think there's definitely an increased chance the Albion gets taken out.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, I don't think it would have changed really anything.
Yeah, I think maybe some of our main characters would have died.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the operation, it worked in the sense that everything happened as it should. It didn't have the desired outcome that Delaz wanted, right? So
the solar system control ship might have gotten taken out earlier. I would have loved to have seen how Kelly and Gato fight together. They might have been just an unstoppable storm.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
We'll never know. But the Valvaro is so armored, it can fly through a Zaku. Cut it in half.
I laughed out loud at that one. I was like, oh, I totally forgot about that. That was great.
I'm surprised that guy didn't just get into his suit, go out, and then contact Kelly and say, hey, change of plans. We're flying back as a group.
Yeah, shut the situation down, right?
Kelly would have been like, oh, okay, there was a change of plans. All right, I'll go along with you guys. Shima's not going to say anything to him at that point, right?
De-escalate the situation.
Yeah, just follow us, everybody would have won at that point, but no.
The only other thought I have on that is, did they get the Noisiel because they didn't have the Valvaro?
Ooh.
Because if I remember right, Axis dropped off the Noisiel, right, as like a gift.
Yeah. Huh. That's an interesting point. So maybe Axis had that in reserve, and then they heard about the Valvaro, or Delaz told Axis what happened, and then they're like, we got you covered.
Yeah.
That's pretty good headcanon, Brian. I like that. That's interesting.
I do like the thought of having both of them fly around. Now I wish that's how the series went.
Yeah, right? Do that in like the manga. The correct version of it. Stardust Memory. Boy, was that was no picnic.
That's Isaac's director's cut. Now, in terms of characters, Isaac, I really only have some comments on Ko here. From what I remembered of the series, I was not a big Ko fan in two respects. One, I just didn't like him, and then two, I didn't understand why he was the pilot of Unit 1. After watching it a second time, I now understand why he's the pilot of Unit 1, but I'm still not impressed with him as a pilot.
Why?
Well, I understand why he's the pilot, because if I was Nina, I wouldn't have given it to anyone on the 4th team either, based on their behavior.
Right.
But again, as him as a pilot, I made a pro and cons list, Isaac. So pros. He technically did win the duel with Monsha. He's not a like Monsha. He did well against the Kimberlite forces. He puts effort into maintaining the Gundam. And he did kill Kelly Laisner in a creative way by, using the core fighter. But after that, he kind of just seems like he gets lucky a lot. I still don't really think he's that great of a pilot. Gato let him go in the first battle, took pity on him. He was dead to rights in the duel with Monsha. He knowingly took Unit 1 out for use in space when he shouldn't have. That's very reckless. When he killed Shima's first Gelgug Marine grunt, he did it by accident. Do you remember that? He shot him, and Shima was surprised that the guy got killed. And then Ko went, "Oh, I got him?" What? He wasn't even aiming right or something.
Or moving right.
He got lit up by Cima. Again, he knowingly helps the enemy repair mobile armor. He can't even ask out Nina, so I don't think he's a great pilot at this stage. More than that, I'm still confused about Nina's we haven't talked about this yet, about Nina's ability to fall in love with Ko, especially if she likes Gato, because they're very different individuals. And especially how hot and cold she is with Ko, right? She goes from this sort of unknowing, vague interest in Ko to complete infatuation to all of a sudden shunning him, I guess because she doesn't want to admit it, and then to full-on sorrow and remorse after he gets beat up by Cima. But then she goes cold to him again once he can't ask her out. Like what is her deal, and like why are they even together?
It's almost toxic in a way. You know, the whole back and forth that they do. They're really only brought together by circumstances, right?
I think so, yeah. If they didn't have the Gundam, these two people don't have any business being together, I don't think.
No, there's so many points where they don't even like each other, really. Or at least it seems that way, right?
Yeah.
He gets mad at her. You know, I mean, oh, God, wait till the last half. She even starts, like, saying, oh, maybe I'll go with Monsha and all that stuff. Yeah. God, it's just such a mess.
Yes, children. I think this series is great. I think that's just my biggest problem with it so far, is I dislike the protagonist, Ko, and I dislike, I'll call it main character B in Nina, who's also happens to be a love interest. So, right, I mean, you got three main characters here, right? You got Ko, Nina, and Gato.
Yeah, actually, we do cut back and forth to Gato a lot and see what's going on with him. So, it's majority Ko, because, good guy protagonist and all that, Federation. Clearly not a new type. Maybe Gato's a new type? Well, we'll never know. Even Nina does start developing her own little tangents. Because other than that, we're not going to see much of Burning anymore. We never see a lot of Keith. And that's about it.
Right. It's just so weird to me because I think everyone else, their character is really good in this show. Like the Kelly Laisner, Latura thing, that was really good.
Yeah.
Gato on screen is always great. Delaz is always good. I feel like everyone else, you really understand their motivations. Except Ko and Nina, but Ko and Nina are like so important, like they're so the main focus of the story. It's odd how like that one goes wrong, but all the other ones go well. Even the Keith and Mora thing ends up being like a pleasant surprise, right?
Yeah, I think that was done well though because we saw so little of it, right?
Right.
Like there's maybe like 30 seconds of screen time that imply that they had a budding romance going on in the background, and it works because it was in the background. The Ko Nina thing never worked because that's just par for the course how Gundam is. I can't think of any Gundam romance that was done well or that's memorable.
Ooh, I think you're getting a lot of hate mail on that one.
Who's going to come out of the woodwork? Like Wing fans going to talk about Hiro and Relena?
Well, I think you got like
who?
You got Camille in 4. I think a lot of people love Camille in 4.
Maybe. Who else? It doesn't happen in Gundam is really my point. It almost never happens. And if it does, if the whole romance plots do show up, they're done poorly.
Okay, that's Isaac's stake in the ground for today, listeners. He always has to poke you a little bit in the ribs. So there you go.
Back me up. Well, when does it work? Maybe Gundam X, but that was like almost platonic.
I like Domon and Rain. I thought that was okay.
This is clearly much more serious in tone than that, though.
Yeah, fair. Well, that's why I think Camille and 4 are good. Amuro and Lala, there's not enough development there to. No. That happens probably too quickly.
Really, no one in Amuro's life.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem. I'm right. That's Lala's dead. So, well, how about branching into Crossbone a little bit? Seabook and Cecily.
No, because that was just so short and rushed. That was very much tell, don't show, because they told us how long they'd been together and all that, and
that's fair. Okay,
she joined the fascists, and then she didn't want to stay with them, and then she joined Seabook at the end. It was it's a mess.
I'm not saying they're the best, and they're definitely messy. This one certainly isn't good, in my opinion. But listeners, if you love the Ko Nina thing, if you can explain this to me, I would love that. Please leave me a detailed essay setting me straight on the Ko Nina relationship. So
it's a hot mess.
Isaac, I wanted to talk about the mecha briefly here because, as I mentioned at the beginning, I think this show has maybe the best combination of fluid hand-drawn animation and mecha designs in the entire series. I can't think of another one, maybe 0080, but just in terms of animation quality and design-wise, you got some heavy hitters here. So you've got 3 great mecha designers here. You got Shoji Kawamori, who made Macross. He designed the GPO-1 and the GPO-2. So you're already leading off with an all-star there. I mean, you're obviously a Unit 2 fan, right, Isaac?
Yeah, it's, dare I say, at the time of its release, Well, never mind. I was about to say there's a Psycho Gundam too, but I was saying the only villainous mobile suit design. The only villainous Gundam design, I mean.
Yeah, okay. Right next to Psycho Gundam. I could see that. I would imagine that for a Gundam, you probably even think that the Unit 1 is pretty decent.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at it and I was like, that's pretty cool. I actually like it more than Unit 2 because those ice cream cones that they put on its back, those are a little silly. I don't like the look of them. They don't really come off as believable in space. Yeah, something was lost between that and Unit 1.
And then you also have Mika Akitaka. And I'm only talking first 7 episodes here, Isaac. So the second one is you've got Mika Akitaka doing the Gelgoog Marines, the Valvaro, the Draw-Seas, also the Unit 4, which is not shown in the show but does exist. But Mika Akitaka also designed the Neue Ziel, Isaac.
Man, nothing but great designs coming from him. You know what I noticed about these designs? Mobile Suit Gundam to Zeta Gundam was a big change in designs, right? Like a huge upgrade, multiple levels.
Yep.
This feels like it's very much a continuation of Zeta, just much more refined in its designs. It very much captures that same look.
Yeah. A third leap of like militarization.
Yeah.
A second leap, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I think the coolest thing about Unit 2, though, is the shoulder pads. I love how those massive boosters kind of rotate down and then it just launches into the air. You know, it needs those. Not a lot of them have boosters on the shoulders like that, especially that size. But this thing's so damn heavy with its shield, it needs them. And the bazooka.
And just those thick feet, huh?
Yeah,
that's like the opposite of the heels that you hate.
Exactly. Oh, we need more big shoes. Give me the big boots, not the heels.
Even the Albion, I think, causes you to like the Pegasus class, right?
Yeah, the Albion it's such a beautiful design. It's probably my favorite Pegasus design. It's got the perfect proportions for the bridge and the main body, and then those two cool long hangar bays. It doesn't get too wacky or anything like that with its proportions. It's really probably the perfect design, I think.
It's definitely up there in terms of the ones that made it to an animated work. I think there are some cooler ones in manga only, but I mean, you know, you can always go find a cool manga design, right? So it's not exactly the same.
Definitely.
And then the third mecha designer, Isaac, who needs no introduction but is Hajime Katoki. I believe this was his first Gundam series that he worked on. So he contributed the Gym Cannon 2, the Powered Gym, the Gym Custom, Gym Type C, the Dom Troppens, and that prototype Rick Dom Zui. Oh, and the Zommel. Can't forget the Zommel. So, and the Dom Troppens. He gave you the Dom Troppen, Isaac. I mean, what more needs to be said?
I mean, not much more. The Dom Troppen's the best design from this show, right?
That's a tough call. Best design from the show overall. I don't know. I thought you would have picked the Neue Ziel, but
mobile suit design, Dom Troppen, mobile armor.
Oh, there you go. You got out of it.
You know, I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, but the Dendrobium was pretty much the Federation's attempt to make a mobile armor in a way, right? Yeah. They were like, well, the mobile armor itself has limits, but what if we just put a mobile suit into something that's like a mobile armor?
Yeah, I can't really argue with that. The Troppen's really cool. If I had to choose a second place, probably the Powered GM is probably pretty cool. I don't know. Those Gelgoog Marines, Isaac, are pretty cool. I like those a lot.
Yeah, they were pretty great. I mean, I'm not a fan too much of the color because it's too close to Gatto's color scheme. But the Gelgoog Marines overall just seemed like such a cool attack force. You know, I wish we saw more of them.
All right, Isaac. Well, how do you feel going into the back half here? And what would you give this first half?
Oh, man. We already know what I'd give it. I give this 6 out of 5 Haros.
Wow.
Because 083 is my favorite series. But going into this next half, I'm ready for a lot of great times, some sad times, and of course, epic mobile suit combat.
Yeah, I think I would give it. I'm slightly less bullish than you.
God.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Look, again, I think the animation and the mech design, basically everything around two of our main characters is great, and I love it. But these two main characters of Ko and Nina did just really bring it down for me. So. That's why we lose a Haro on that for me, or I'll do, I'll 8 out of 10, whatever, 4 out of 5. But I'm excited for the back half. Just, I know we get to see the battle between Unit 1 and Unit 2. We get to see actually Operation Stardust happen. We get to see the solar system again, as well as the Neue Ziel, Isaac. It's always a good time when you see the Neue Ziel.
The final battle and the mind blown of the conspirators.
The last thing I'll say, Isaac, is what I missed from this version that was good about the compilation film was that extra footage in the beginning where they show them taking the colonies.
Yeah, the big foreshadowing. That would have been cool. But
Yeah.
I can see how some people think it's not unnecessary, right? Because we're going to see colonies being moved later.
It's a bit of a spoiler,
Yeah.
right? I suppose if you show it in the beginning, so maybe that's why they didn't do
or
that.
puzzling if you're watching it before. You're like, why are they showing us colonies under construction?
Correct, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, if it doesn't come back for 9 episodes or something, it could be a little odd. But all right, listeners. Well, Isaac, do you have any questions for them?
what color would your Dom Troppin be?
Ooh, there you go.
Was Admiral Cohen's idea for a nuclear-equipped Gundam just dumb from the beginning? Like, this could not have ended well, even if it went right?
Well, you got to hand it to Delaz, right? When he goes on that thing, or when he does his speech, and he's like, the Federation clearly designed this to, have a nuke, and they're clearly breaking the Antarctic Treaty. I was kind of like, oh, he's got you there, Federation. Like,
yeah.
That was a bad move.
Right, we're in peace, and you're building a nuke. Like, what are you doing? A nuclear-equipped Gundam, what are you doing? This is clearly meant to intimidate colonies.
Yeah, he caught him red-handed. Oh, boy. Yeah, all right, listeners, let us know. Hope you enjoyed 0083, and go check out the Mayfly of Space if you have not.
Yeah.
So, Isaac, take us away.
All right, listeners, before you go to sleep tonight, stand next to your bed, get on your knees, put your hands together, look up at the ceiling, and hail the Delaz Fleet.
Good night, everybody.